Welcome to our first special episode together with Nord Security. We will take you on a journey through cybersecurity from the beginning to the end. First step is to take actions against attacks like credential access phase, which normally begins by stealing passwords with techniques like password cracking and brute force.
Yeah, we have Gediminas Brencius from Nord Security with us to explain deeper how to manage passwords on a single place, scan for data breaches, and how best practices work with passwords.
All right, so you're listening to IT-säkerhetspodden special. I am Mattias Jadesköld, and the person who sits next to me is, of course, Erik Salitis. This episode is called The Importance of Password. But first, welcome, Gediminas Brencius.
Hey guys.
Oh, nice to have you here. Okay, so tell me about yourself. What do you do for work?
So my name is Gediminas. I'm currently the head of product at NordPass. And I've worked in digital product development almost all of my career. And this current challenge with making cybersecurity more accessible to the broader public is, I guess, the most interesting for me.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yes, we're going to talk about passwords and so on. But first, I'm interested in password. Why is this still a problem 2022?
Well, passwords have been around for a very long time. And people still struggle with passwords in this day and age. On one side, it's a bit strange because there's never been so much cybersecurity education and the importance of having good cybersecurity. But on the other hand, we've seen people just ignoring the facts, ignoring the education, ignoring everything. So there's this thing called password fatigue, where people have loads of online accounts, and even more than before. And actually, we've had some surveys run out when we realized that there's an average person who has around 100 accounts. So it's actually impossible to memorize this many passwords, and especially when they're in complex, long, secure, and the people just they fall back and just use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 I love you or whatever else in their simple accounts.
And yet this is a demand nowadays, I guess. You can't have one and single password for everything. That would be dangerous.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you lose one, you are in danger of losing all of the accounts with the same password. So that's a big risk.
But I thought that passwordless is a big thing now. Why do we still have passwords?
I mean, the passwordless is a big thing. I mean, there's companies and people and businesses talking about it, but we expect it to become even bigger in the upcoming years. But at the moment, it's still far away from being widely used. There's so many businesses who have been in the game of software development for a very long time, and they have built their infrastructures based on having passwords.
Yeah.
So, the adoption of passwordless is going to be very difficult. There's also, there's things like biometrics and passwordless logins into some services.
Yeah.
But there's still, biometrics is a bit different than passwords comparing from the legal point of view. For example, in the US, they can the authorities can obtain your biometric data, but they cannot obtain your password. So that's sort of a risk that you have to take when you have to choose between having a password or having biometrics on your phone. So there's quite a lot of different either legal or technical challenges that are still haven't been solved. So passwordless is not going to come quickly. It's going to be decades, I guess. And being future-proof, this is something that we need to think about right now, but understand that it's not here to stay at this moment.
Yeah, so we're still here struggling with our 100 passwords then, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so before we begin talking how to solve this, I like to discuss different techniques the hackers use.
Sure.
So there are many password hacks like brute force, password cracking, guessing, spraying, keylogging, and so on. Can you describe how this works?
Sure. So essentially, they're somewhat similar, but at the same time a bit different. But so, for example, password cracking means recovering passwords from a computer or from data that the computer transmits, and password cracking essentially is the umbrella term for all of these different methods or techniques that the hackers use. So, for example, brute force is essentially, plugging in a username and then just smashing as many different passwords as they can and trying to, in a way, guess it.
Yeah.
So what it does in a technical point of view, so a computer program just picks up a huge list of potential passwords, names, usernames, and tries those combinations until some of them fit. So, a Pentium 100 can try 10,000 passwords a second, and a supercomputer can try 1 billion passwords per second. So this is, those different levels show us that, a simple hacker somewhere in the deep forest might not be as efficient as for example, as an authority figure who wants to get into your account. So there's different levels of risk on this side.
Yeah, and what method would you say that the attacker use mostly?
I would say credential stuffing is one of the biggest ones because every now and then there's databases being leaked where the hackers get a hold of databases, and that's where the biggest risk of having the same password for different accounts come from.
Yeah,
because if they find your username and a password on let's say just a random service online, and they will try this combination of a username and a password on many different ones, on your Gmail, on your Facebook, on your Twitter, anywhere that they can find your username on, they will try this combination. So this is, I guess, one of the biggest risks, and this is where the most damage comes from.
Yeah, I would guess that this is since we're transitioning from the state of one password for everything. It wasn't a good idea, but that's what we did, to having a lot of passwords in some kind of management software like yours. And while we are still on this journey, we are very vulnerable for this credential stuffing, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody really, when you create an account somewhere that is an account which is a low value account, for example, just a forum account or somewhere else, you never think about the chance or the risk of losing it, and then using the same password on your Gmail account where there's a lot of important data saved. So you have to understand the risks, and you have to take preemptive steps to change it and to avoid that risk.
Yes, but it is very complicated because every time you do something on the internet, you just want to buy something, you always need to create an account, and once you're there, you just I just type my normal password, for example. I guess many people do that.
Yeah, of course. That's the thing. Convenience versus security. That's where you have to find the balance. Yeah. I mean, I've done that myself. So before starting to work in password management, I've done that many times. But now, as I realize the risk, the potential loss of data, loss of my identity, and I'm trying not to do this anymore. So that's where password managers help.
Yeah. So that's how to prevent it. Using password management. Okay. So I'm gonna try a little password game. So now I understand some hacking techniques. So let's try a password. I think this is something for Eric as well. So if I use, for example, password summer winter 2222. Capital S and capital W.
Yeah, I can see it here on my screen. Yeah. The problem being, what do we have to attack it? Brute force? Probably not. Depends on your capacity or something, but it's not the easiest way. It's too many characters for being efficient. Hybrid attacks, that means you use a word list and then mutate it. That has a very, very high chance of actually knocking this one down. Yeah. Reason, 2 words and then just mutating numbers is not that hard. You need at least 4 words to be safe. This is kind of a mathematics game, so to speak. Then we have rainbow tables. Yep, it's gonna take it down.
Okay.
So yeah, that's not a good password, okay?
Okay. Do you agree, Gediminas?
Yeah, well, it's a decent password. I mean, it definitely there's definitely room for improvement, but in theory, this can be cracked in like 3 hours or something. So if you're willing to take the risk, you can use that, especially in low value accounts.
I would not call that decent. It seems like my point is it's a very bad password. Okay, I give you, it was a good password maybe like 15 years ago, but you know.
Yeah.
Even though I added winter, because normally you have just summer 2000.
Yeah. Winter is the only thing we have in Sweden.
Okay, I try another one. In my living room, there is 4 computers. And there's
nice.
And
this
there's
one.
What do you call this sign?
Yeah, exclamation mark.
Yes, okay, yeah.
So, what do we have here? We have an entropy of capital characters, normal characters, we have numbers, and we have special characters. It seems to be above 20 characters. I can't really count them. But this one is really got a lot of things going for it. Try to take it with brute force. No, it's not going to happen, okay? Not possible. Are we going to take it with hybrid attacks? Actually, no. There are far more than 4 words.
Yeah.
The permutations will run out of any scope of trying to take this one. So that's not going to happen. When it comes to rainbow tables, if you have a rainbow table, they are kind of limited to how many pre-calculations you have. Above 20 characters, generally no. So I would say this password is really, really good.
Okay. Gediminas, do you agree also?
I guess I can agree with this, but the thing is that we always advise people to avoid dictionary words in their passwords. There's always an opportunity to match those words and crack it.
Yeah.
But I think this is one out of these 4 or these 3. This is one of the best ones. So you ideally would have a bit more random letters, random symbols, and numbers. And the fact is that if you can remember your password, that's not strong enough. That's the bottom line.
All right. So,
I see the point. That means we cannot we can't get past the whole thing. That we need a password manager today.
Yeah.
But you also need a password for the password manager, I guess.
Dang.
Yeah, you do. There's a thing called master password, which is essentially the one that holds all of the other passwords, and it's a complicated thing, but it works.
Okay, so let's discuss a bit NordPass, which can help you in this situation. How does it work?
So essentially, NordPass is an easy to use, a secure password manager, especially built for a smoother and safer online experience. So besides what we hold in there is, besides login credentials, we can securely store your credit cards and notes if you have any secret notes that you want to keep, your personal information when you want to fill in shopping forms on shopping sites. So everything that you keep in NordPass is protected and encrypted by advanced algorithms. So what we're working on is we're using state-of-the-art encryption algorithm called X-Charter 20, which is the most modern one at this moment, and more tech giants from Silicon Valley are implementing this in their services. So companies like Google or Cloudflare use X-Charter 20 encryption to ensure fast and safe connections for their users. And in general,
I have the private key for this one, so I encrypt it. So none at NordPass, or even though you have administrators at NordPass, cannot see my password, sir.
Yeah, that's right. We've built NordPass with zero knowledge design. So essentially, even if we wanted to, we are not able to see what's inside of your vault, what sort of items you have in there, because you encrypt it with your master password, and the encryption and the decryption happens on your own device. So you never send your master password to us, and we never know it. So you download, the latest version of your vault from the cloud where we keep it, and then you unlock it within your computer, use it as much as you want, lock it, and then the changes get sent to us, and we never see anything.
Okay, just one thing here. If I have a web browser, it has its own password manager, right? Chrome has one, Firefox has one.
Yeah.
Can't you use that instead?
I mean, in a way, it's better than not using a password manager at all. But the thing is that, with Chrome password manager, for example, browser-based password managers, you're limited to a single browser. You're limited to just having passwords, where you usually, you need to have your personal information. You want to write down some passwords which are used outside of being online, somewhere in a physical place. So and especially with the security and the encryption, we're using a lot more advanced encryption methods than the password managers within the browsers. So, I mean, it's your choice, definitely, but I would, as someone from working in password management, I would recommend using a password manager.
Yeah, and I have to agree with this one. We checked this, and Chrome, Firefox, they are not safe enough. Especially Chrome can easily be emptied by a hacker. So totally agree with you there. That is not a good solution. You need a real solution.
So is this a consumer product or enterprise product?
Well, it's both actually. We have a version for consumer people, for consumers, which is our main one at the moment, and also what we have is a business version for both smaller companies and even an enterprise version for big companies, enterprise level companies. And we're working on these 3 different swim lanes where we try to improve the product so that it matches the needs for all of these 3 segments of users.
Okay, so I'm a bit curious, how does the enterprise work? For example, if I work in a IT company, we are 4 IT administrators sharing password for our critical systems and so on. How does it work?
Yeah, so essentially what you get is you get a company-wide vault where all of the shared passwords are placed, and you as users, you get access to different kinds of passwords based on what you need, based on your role in the company. So if you're an IT administrator, you may need access to databases, may need access to internal tools. So you get access to those. You log in whenever you need. And for example, people from marketing get access to absolutely different accounts, the ones that they need. And this is good because you never mix up the data. You never mix up the accounts. You always have what you need to have and nothing more, and that essentially saves and it creates sort of a lot more secure environment for all of the employees in the company.
All right, understand. And for the consumers, you mentioned that it works on a web browser, but for example, if I use a mobile for accessing apps and so on.
Yeah, we do have pretty much all of the platforms covered at the moment. You can access your passwords on a browser if you want to. We have an app, a native app, which you can use on any operating system that you need. We also have mobile apps, both Android and iOS. And there's, we're just trying to make sure that you can access NordPass wherever you are. So just being where you are is important so that you don't compromise your security.
Okay. So for example, if I am a consumer, I'm using Netflix app, for example, and I put a super complicated password and put it in our password management, how do I log into the Netflix app?
Just simply, you open up your Netflix app, click or tap on the form that on the login form, and NordPass comes up and says, "Would you like to log in?" You click yes. You just select your account, and that's it. You're in.
Okay, so it's integrated in some way, like Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Right. You mentioned also data breach scanner. That made me curious. What's that?
Yeah. So data breach scanner is an inbuilt premium feature that we have, and it automatically scans leaked databases and compares them to the items that you have in your vault. And for example, if any of your email addresses or credit cards have ever been leaked, NordPass will list them and prioritize and highlight the items that could affect you the most. Essentially, you'll get the list of potential risks, and then you will be able to identify where those and when those leaks happened, and what type of data was compromised during those leaks. So you can then just come in, see what the problems are, and then change your passwords in these leaks. So yeah, that's how it works in a nutshell. So what we want users to do, if they see their accounts being leaked, they need to change their passwords immediately. So update them to a stronger one, start using second factor authentication, and that's going to be a really huge help for you to ensure that you never that you're not getting compromised in any other leaks.
Okay, so I understand. So, for example, if I update my password manager, NordPass, and enter a password that has been leaked or connected to my email address, a message will pop up saying something like, please don't use that password.
Yeah, that's what we do. When you create a new password, we check the databases. We see if that password has been used anywhere before in any of these leaks, and we just say, take care of your cybersecurity. Don't use this password. Try something else. We do have a password generator inbuilt in the app, so you don't even have to think of passwords. It just does it for you automatically and saves it in your vault. So, it's as simple as it gets. And I don't see any reason why you shouldn't use a password manager, because in the way that this industry is moving forward, I think this is just a no-brainer. You have to have it, and moving in that direction is something that needs to be done as soon as you can.
Yeah, I must ask one thing here. There was a list of the most commonly used passwords, like password 1, 2, 3, 4. We've seen those.
Yeah.
My favorite is on place number 9 or something. It says trust no one, with trust no and a 1. If I were to use NordPass and type that in, what would happen? Would it advise me not to use it? It would indicate that's unsecure. What would happen?
Yeah, that's the thing. We have there's a inbuilt tool as well called Password Health. So if you would try to use Trust No One, it would say that this is a weak password, and we would advise you not to use it.
Yeah. That's great. Maybe we can see the tail's end of those password list of simple passwords.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and I'm curious, this is a bit almost out of the topic. Do you have APIs connected to NordPass, for example, for developers to receive passwords and so on?
Not yet, but this is something that's in the backlog. The business and enterprise teams are working on this, because this is quite a big request from many businesses. So that's what we're moving into.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we are reaching the end, but Gediminas, what's the future like for Password, do you think?
Well, we expect that passwordless is going to be a lot more prominent, and the rise of biometrics is going to have a huge impact in everyday life. But in a way, passwords are not going away very soon. So we might be able to hide the actual passwords from people behind the biometric data, but they're still going to be there. So, we feel that there's so much problems to solve in the digital identification world, and I think that passwords are still going to be there. We're going to use as much as we can. We're going to use biometrics as much as we can in the future, but there's still, we're going to find ways to ensure that you are who you are online, and ensuring that digital identity is something that's the digital identity is something that you can use to access your banking data, your governmental data, all of these things. So passwords are not going away. So that's a fact.
Yeah. Agree. Since we have 100 per person, so I guess it's going to take a while.
Yeah, that's it.
Is there anything you'd like to add? We covered all.
I would just say, I'm glad to be able to talk to you in this podcast, and I'm just the education of people that we have to take this seriously, and we have to ensure that the digital accounts that we use are safe and secure, and that this is the easiest way to do it. So NordPass even offers a free plan if you want to use it for free, if you're not completely sure whether you need it, but just try it and you'll see that it's easy and it's secure, and it's something that needs to be done whether you like it or not. Don't postpone it to a better day.
Yeah. All right. So this was our first special together with Nord Security. Our next thing would be, I'm thinking of this is like a kill chain. This is the beginning of an attack where you keep your passwords safe. The next step is to keep your network safe. So let's say if the attacker will get hold of your credentials and gain access to your network, how will you prevent this? This and much more we will discuss in the next episode. We call it Make Your Network a Strong Fortress.
Oh yeah,
Together with,
almost biblical there, isn't it?
yes, of course. And also, if you're listening to this and curious of trying NordPass, we will post a link where you can get to use it free. And so check the description of this podcast and you can try it out yourself.
Thank you for listening.